Welcome back to your Daily Dose. My name is Robert, and I'm here with Jackie, aka Chatty Cathy, by her own admission, and we love that. Thank you so much. Never give me things. Sorry,
No,
I
no.
only use them. It's the name of my company. Yes, and exercise. I yes and everything. I can't help it.
Yep.
Uh, so we were talking a lot about the passion of the fans, the beginning, the origin, where people came from. What's your origin? What's your first book, maybe? And then, maybe we go into first movie too. But let's start with first book of Stephen King's that hooked you.
My first King read ever was The Stand,
Okay.
and it's kind of a big leap into the world, but
Bridged or
it's
unabridged?
the unabridged.
Ooh, okay. You got
I'm
the
not
whole thing.
old. Come on. No, no. The unabridged version is what got me hooked on it, and it was After I read that, I think that it started on like for the next 20 books that I read were all King.
Was there a character or a moment that made you go, "Oh my God"? 'Cause I can picture in that one moment for me, and it really was the opening scene when
Mhm,
the guard was escaping, right, and
mhm.
the captain trips, and I'm going, "Wait a minute!" And it's just it was government, it was conspiratorial, and I think for me at the age when I read it, it was Cold War, in the '80s, and it was kind of that whole and it just God, King grabbed that. That was my, oh my God. And it didn't stop for the next, like you said, 1,000 pages. But was there a moment for you in that book that you were like, whoa?
Now you're just planting ideas in my head. I really, really did. I loved the opening scene of that. It was fantastic. Just, whenever they start talking about how they're walking through everything, they're seeing the centrifuge going, they're seeing all of these different things. I have a science background. I find that stuff very, very fascinating. Um, but oh gosh, whenever Franny had to bury her dad, pull him down the stairs and go down and dig his grave, it just, I can't imagine what that must have taken. And, some might say that that book is not necessarily horror just because it's got so much going on, but stuff like that is truly horrific to me.
Well, we had an interesting mirror, and maybe in a way that many didn't expect when COVID hit, right? We had an actual pandemic, and a lot of people pointed at the stand, and I think there have been rumors for a long time, right? With various potential pandemics, right? Bird flu and, mad cow disease and things like that. But it was always like, yeah, yeah, and we escaped by the skin of our teeth. When COVID actually hit, and it was like, wait a minute, you think about the one escaping, right? That opening scene.
Mm-hmm.
How much as a scientist did you go into, oh my God, and thinking both, what you would learn from King, and then also trying to, did you do any tracing back to zero? Did you get that deeply involved into, where it came from or any of that?
I'm sorry to disappoint, but I didn't.
Well, that's okay.
It's
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, you think about things like that. You certainly mill them over in your head, but did I dig that deep into it? No. But to think about it, I mean, it is truly horrific to think something like this that was conjured up in King's head came to life. It's almost like an episode of The Simpsons or something. You know how they're always predicting the
Yeah.
future.
Yeah.
But I can recall several times whenever people during at the onset of COVID, they're like, "Damn it, King, what did you do?" And
Well,
he came back several times. And it's like I had nothing to do with it.
yeah, please.
Right.
But what you're intimating towards what I'm hearing within that, it speaks to what I think some of what King does, and tell me if this jives with you. It's almost like he infects us with his ideas.
Oh,
I mean,
absolutely.
they get inside of us, and they're not casual reads to me. They're deeply impacting almost everything I've read. Do you feel that way? Like it hits you when you read something by him?
Absolutely. Absolutely. A lot of people complain that he tends to drag on a little bit with his character development and everything, which honestly, that's one of the things I love most about him. You get to know these people, you become invested in their story, in the overall story. And whenever something traumatic or, major happens, you think to yourself, oh my, I mean, it impacts you because you are so heavily invested in it. So yeah, I absolutely agree with that.
Yeah, the deep caring of the characters. It makes me think of one of my favorites, The Long Walk, and
Yes.
that is finally going to see the light of day. I tried like crazy to get the rights to that.
Me
Uh,
too.
Even spoke to him about it, and I got beat out at the time by Frank Darabont, so I didn't feel so bad. Um, Right.
If
But
anybody's going to beat you out, I'm glad it's Darabont and nobody else.
yeah.
Right?
But the idea of what you just said of caring about the characters, I remember so well the boys in there watching Ray Garrity and Pete McVries and Art Baker, and these boys became friends. And I get chills even now thinking about them. I love those boys. I felt like I was out there with them. And the tragedy is they realize the reality of all of us are going to die except one, no matter how much we care about each other. Oh,
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
whoa.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, yeah. Ugh. And the ending of that book. My
Yeah.
goodness. I remember closing it. I'm like, what in the hell just happened? What happened?
Well, and right, it's kind of like, and that's why I can't wait to see what they do because it's like The Mist, right? And you
Mhm.
saw brilliantly what Frank did with that. He upped the ending of what Stephen King did to his own admission. What are they going to do with the ending of this? I mean, I wrote an ending I'm quite proud of, but it didn't win, so we'll see. Uh, but at any rate, this is, we're talking a little about the books and we're hedging into movies. Let's come back for another episode and talk more movies because there's a ton there. Okay.
Absolutely. Thank you.
See you in the next dose.